Who is here? I came on a little early. I know it's not that early. I used to come on early and chit chat, and now it seems like I've been coming on right when it begins, trying to get stuff done, I guess. So, who is here with me? I have some thoughts for today's class, and I'd like to run it by you guys, whoever's able to chat with me. So, let me know who is here, and then we will figure it out. Yoga therapy for improved posture and balance. Nancy, here again. How are you doing, Nancy? I know that we communicate via email. I did my first harvest yesterday of my tomato plants. Like harvest, really did a harvest. I wish I could share photos here. Like on Zoom, I can share my screen. So let me see if I'm able to get this point across. So I guess you could see that, right? That's my first yield, like big yield. Hi, Athena. This is my first big yield of tomatoes. I've got three different varieties of cherries. Um, let me see. It's pretty amazing. So here it is in a, that's like a big basket. Oops. That's a big basket full of them. See those big guys? Anyway, that was outside when I first got it. And there's my yellow squash. So a lot of harvesting has happening. And it's amazing because they really do taste so good. And I just feel like it's so much work. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just so much work for all of these, all the watering, although it is great. I mean, it feels really great to do it. Um, it's so, they're so delicious. I mean, really, you're like, wow, now I know why they call this a fruit. Tomatoes are fruit. So I'm hoping that Judy can be here. Judy said that she had some knee issues, so she was going to try to come to this class. And I kind of have an intention for today's class. I really wanted to do some somatic work on finding posture in the body. So the pose that's in yoga for postural alignment is called Tadasana or mountain pose. And mountain pose is alignment and finding that alignment in your body. So it is going to require a lot of somatic awareness in feeling and observing, and then seeing if we can activate and find or turn on certain postural aspects of our body, certain muscles, certain areas. So I'd really like to work with Tadasana today and in different ways. And in one of my trainings, I'm not sure which teacher or where I heard this, but I actually had heard that every pose is created from the Tadasana pose because the Tadasana pose is complete structural alignment of the body. And then from that aligned position is where everything else comes after that. So that is what we're going to work with today. And of course, if there's any issues, I'd love to hear about that. I'd like to hear if there's anything in particular. I think that everything kind of really does come from that anyway, that postural alignment place, because there's been a lot of upper back and neck issues, and that's from that anterior head carriage. When the head is not in proper alignment on top of the cervical spine and in its nice position, then that translates throughout the body and can cause dysfunction or discomfort in some other areas. So I think that really thinking about this center midline postural alignment and how everything radiates from that's a nice thing to think of. And then just the alignment of body, mind, and soul, which is the real meaning of the word yoga. When everything is in alignment, when everything is in balance, that's when everything is in harmony. And a lot of what's happening is for us now is this malalignment or not aligned structure that we're used to having in our bodies, in our lives, right? um yeah. Too much sitting, not even just, yeah, from computers, from everything, right? Not quite as mobile. I know that I'm not. I'm not out there a lot. And then when we hear that there's a rise in things, it also causes us to not be as mobile. So that's why I really like to work today on a quiet noticing position so that we can actually find that Tadasana in our body. Um, yeah, so that would be really a good thing. Okay, so with that said, I am going to suggest that today we begin on our backs. And I am going to suggest that we begin on our backs on the floor so that there is nothing getting in the way of whatever our posture and alignment is as it is, so that we can notice what we notice in that sense. And I would suggest maybe getting a chair. So either going near the wall or a chair. I think I may actually go up the wall. I think I've only done that once or twice during this. I'm gonna go up the wall. Okay. I'm gonna have to turn my computer, my camera. Okay. So I'm gonna go up that wall right there. And you bring your mat over. Hopefully you all have access to a wall so that you can actually bring your mat over right up against a wall. And then I'm going to also suggest that you have, if you have a bolster, to have your bolster, because elevating the pelvis when, no, I'm not going to have you do that. I want you up against the wall. The people who really benefit from the bolster underneath the knees, honestly, are some of the tighter people with a lot of tightness in their body. So I know that a few of you that are here, the ones chatting with me, I know that you're pretty limber, both of you actually. So I'd like you to find yourself up against a wall. Body doesn't have to touch the wall. It could be close to the wall. If you are pretty limber, you probably will get relatively close to the wall. But I'd like your pelvis to be in a neutral position. That's important. I don't want it to be tilted posteriorly. And if you get too close to the wall relative to your hamstring flexibility, you're actually going to have an effect on your spine. And I'm trying to bring you into a neutral. I'd also like you to try to have nothing behind your head and to take your head and lengthen your head so that occipital ridge, that middle center part of the skull, can actually be supported on the floor. So take your time to actually move your head, lifting your head up, and you may need to add a little bit of tilt into the head to get that occipital ridge to be on the floor. And then I'd like you to bring your awareness down your spine to your sacrum that's on the floor, and try to lengthen the legs away from you so you feel that complete grounding of that sacrum on the floor. And then I'd like the arms at first to go out to the side, down low. And then when you're doing this, I'd like you to bring your awareness to your shoulders, to the front of your shoulder where your chest muscles attach onto your arm bones. And so in this position, can we do a little bit of body awareness here? Let your legs sink heavy. So let the legs be sinking heavy in the sockets. Bringing your awareness up to your head. And noticing, keep the eyes closed. Is the head tilted to one side? So if you were to say a direction that you feel your head is moving in, is it a little bit tilted to the right or a little bit tilted to the left? And just notice what you notice there. Then I want you to bring your awareness to the top of your back and notice the shoulder blades. Noticing, are both shoulder blades pressing into the floor equally? Bringing your awareness to the lower ribs, feeling that part. So that's the middle part of your torso. And then to your low back. And then I want you to wiggle your head back and forth, side to side. I want you to let go. That was just a noticing right off the bat where we are. If you'd like to bring the blanket underneath your head, you could bring a slight blanket underneath your head. Bring your arms to the side. Put a slight bend in your elbows. And let's let a little opening occur in the body. Oh, arms are out to the side. And let's let this pose work. This pose is called Viparita Karini, legs up the wall. It has a nice way of grounding the pelvis, allowing the leg bones to sink nice and deep in the sockets, reducing some tension that the pelvis may experience when we're standing and sitting, and then allowing the torso to experience that grounding and that release from that held position that's in our bodies. So letting all the relaxation come into the body here. And start to bring the breath deeper into the belly. Breathing in through the nostrils. Keep the mouth gentle. Lips are touching. Bringing the breath down below the ribs. Just bringing your awareness to your low torso area. And notice the breath expanding and contracting the lower belly area. Let's do some nice, deep, subtle work to move your spine, to help correct postural aspects of the low back, of the spine. The diaphragm muscle lines the lower ribs. So as you're breathing in, notice your low ribs and the muscle that's attached to them pressing downward towards your legs. See if you could feel that it's even on both sides. That as you breathe down, both lower rib sides of your body are moving towards the leg bone with the legs up the wall. And the diaphragm is around all the ribs. So can you not just be in front of the low ribs? Feel the side of the low ribs. Feel this whole midsection of your torso expand and contract. Try to be in your body. See if you could feel what you feel moving. And then take your arms. Let's elevate the arms. Let's create a little more space in the body. Bringing the arms a little higher, letting the elbows be bent, backs of the hands are on the floor, palms are up towards the sky. And try to find symmetry in your body when you do this. Notice if there is symmetry. Notice if there's anything asymmetrical about this. Even if you need to move your blanket, lifting your arms up, the palms are up towards the sky, backs of the arms are on the floor. Still breathing in the diaphragm area, the low belly. And start to bring the awareness now up to the lungs, so that as you breathe in, you're expanding and contracting your lungs. And see if we could get the lungs to start to move the spine, to start to create any postural imbalances, to create a release in anything that's going on in the spine. See if you could feel this. As your lungs expand and contract, the ribs are attached to the spine. And then do a little bit of breathing into the right side only. So try to expand the entire right side of your body. Maybe you could feel this and maybe not. It definitely takes a lot of somatic awareness and a lot of interoception. See if you're able to breathe into just the right side of the body, right side chest, right side diaphragm. Notice if there's any tightness, any tension. And then bring your awareness over to the left. Next couple of breaths is to the left side diaphragm, left side chest, left side ribs. Sometimes it helps to turn your head in that direction. Take one more breath. And then take your hands, reach your hands overhead. If you're able to spread your legs, keeping your legs on the wall, stretching your adductors, go ahead and do that. Legs on the wall sometimes makes people feel really safe to come to a spread leg position. Spreading your legs, feel that stretch on the adductor muscles. And then let's bring the soles of the feet together in Baddha Konasana. So this Baddha Konasana at the wall and the legs spread at the wall actually lengthening the tendinous part of the psoas, which is the muscle deep inside that's attached onto the spine, and then it's attached onto those inner leg bones. So this is a nice way to release that lower tendinous part of the psoas. Take one more breath. And then you're going to bring yourself onto your right side, bringing your hand onto the floor in front of you, and then you're going to push yourself up. So one thing I'd like to note about that is that now I feel a lot when I do that. So I speak from a place of being able to experience that. And I'm not sure if you're all able to experience the depths of what that beginning part of class was about. The lungs, as they expand and contract, the ribs are attached to those lungs and the ribs are attached onto the vertebra. So there is a gentle, it may be really small and gentle, yet there is a movement aspect that breath can bring into the body and can have an effect on our posture. And then we were going to the diaphragm, and the diaphragm is attached onto the lower ribs all the way around, and there's a right side and a left side. So sometimes if we start to get rounding in our body, or we start to get rotation as we would in any kind of either congenital scoliotic pattern or even functional, or I can't remember the correct term, musculoskeletal. There's a term for it where it relates the muscles and the movement of the body. Neuromuscular, I believe it may be called neuromuscular, where there's this pattern that starts to sit in your body. So when we do that gentle yet raised awareness around how our body position is. So for me, when we're doing this, because I know I have issues in my thoracic spine, a little scoliosis is coming in, I actually feel bones moving. I feel a movement in my bones if I direct my breath in different places. So in one case, I had us down low here doing some lower diaphragm work. Then I had right side diaphragm, left side diaphragm. Then we brought our awareness up to our chest to get our chest to expand and contract, to move the ribs, to move postural aspects of our body here. And then I had you go just right side diaphragm, right side lung, bringing the awareness here to the right side. And then I said, let's go to the left. And at that point, I directed, if you're not able to feel just one side moving, turn your head in that direction as if you were looking there. And it's so intricate, this neuromuscular wiring and communication and patterning that gets stored in the body. And so this subtle work can actually help to reprogram or just to even raise awareness to that. And so my friend who's a physical therapist, and then the chiropractor that I was working with before all of this, they are starting to bring breath awareness, subtle breath work into chiropractic and into physical therapy to start to change postural patterns. And that postural patterning is happening at such a deep level in the body. Okay, so I notice on my end that I have a sign that there was some instability. So I'm not sure if for you guys there was a shift or a freezing that took place. Good afternoon, Martha. I hope you were here from the beginning, and I hope that you were able to do that. And it's funny because Martha and Nancy, you are both nurses. Not sure if you're, I know Nancy's not working anymore, and I can't remember, Martha. I think you may have indicated that you were retired, and I'm not sure. So sometimes when I know, and I know Athena is a certified yoga therapist, so I know that there's a lot of awareness here in this class. Even if it's not felt awareness, even if you've not been in your own body to feel that, but the understanding of where the diaphragm is located, the vertebra, and all of this. So today we're going to really work on trying to develop our own interoception or inner body awareness of our muscles, and that's going to be really important. Um, okay, so you're still working. So then there's that total awareness there of that, of these things that I'm speaking about. So I know that Nancy can't bend her knees and come into a seated position. I'm wondering, Martha, I can't remember what you told me your issues in your tissues were. I know Athena is a ballerina. And so she's limber, limber, limber. So I know she could sit. Chachi, hello. I'm pretty sure Chachi has upper back neck issues, not necessarily knees. So this first part of the class that I want to do, we're going to probably be each in different positions, okay? So my ideal for us all, the ideal location I would want for all of you is to be able to sit in Vajrasana or Hero's pose. This is my ideal. I'm going to show you. I know Athena can find it. I'm pretty sure Chachi can. Not sure if Martha can. I know Nancy probably will have difficulty with this. And I don't know who else is here. So the Vajrasana pose, the block goes between the ankle joint area of the body. Now this is one block, and I have it left like this. If you happen to have two blocks, you could put two blocks on top of each other. So this is one of my favorite resting positions, and I am able to flex my knees and I'm able to flex my hips comfortably, because what this does is it aligns the spine really beautifully. So if you girls can find this in your body, I would love the Vajrasana, the hero's pose in your body. And then Judy may be here and she's got some stuff going on with her knees, so she may not be able to. And then for those of you that cannot find this, so here's a way to do it. Also, taking a bolster between your tushy and your heels may be a way. So the things that may stop you are tightness in the feet and knee issues. If tightness in the feet is an issue, you could try this, folding a blanket so that you minimize the movement of the feet. So you minimize the stretch coming into your feet. But sitting in this position is very therapeutic, and it allows the spine to come into a neutral alignment. So let me see what was being said about that. Tight low back today. Will be good for you, Athena, with that. Yeah, I froze earlier. I could see that a line came up here. And that was just when I was explaining the whole interoception and the body awareness. Um, and then knees are pretty good. Okay, Martha. So if you could find that in your body, especially if you have a block, I think that it'll be your new favorite sitting position. It's really a fan favorite for those that can find it. Nancy and Judy, if you're here, or whoever is here, Joy may be here with us. I'm not sure if Stevie is here with us. Find Vajrasana for those that can. And here's what I'm going to tell you about knee flexion. When I talked to Dr. Fishman about this, I asked about the knee flexion issues. It's the biggest hurdle I've had as a teacher throughout these years is, what do I do with people whose knees can't bend? So I asked Dr. Fishman, and because there are so many different reasons for it, it really is an individual thing. The quadricep muscles that actually flex that knee, the tendinous part of the quadricep muscles attaches on the other side onto the lower leg bones. If you feel a strong stretch here, which is what some people do, that's the tendinous part of the muscles attaching. Some of you maybe have knee replacements, so there's a limitation in that. If it's an experience here in the belly of the muscle, if the tightness is in the belly of the muscle, that is an okay time to bend the knee, because that's tightness, muscular tightness we're working with. When you start to get the medial and the proximal discomfort and the tendinous part here, that's when it becomes individualized. That's when elevating your body a little higher is going to be more helpful for you. So maybe that would even be 2 blocks. We're going to be sitting here working on our Tadasana pose, which is why I'm taking so much time to explain, trying to find it, for all of you to find it. So I'm just going to hope at this point that you found something. And then, of course, there is the seated position. If none of that works for you, can you please elevate your pelvis pretty high? I don't want it to be on the floor. I want you to be elevated pretty high. So sitting on a bolster and bringing the legs out in front of you into a Baddha Konasana position. So find Baddha Konasana in your body, okay? So please find something there. Hamilton is going to join us only for a second, probably, because he's trying to escape. He's in. Hi, can you say hi to everybody? Come here. Can you say hi before you leave us? He's a Houdini trying to escape out my windows. That's all he wants me for, is to escape. No, I'm putting you out if you meow. Okay, so let's come into our hero's pose, our Vajrasana pose, in whatever way you found it in your body. And then I would like you to bring your knees together. That would be an important thing for me as well, is for you to try to bring your knees together. I'll probably mostly, come here. Can you say hi to everybody? Can you just show them how beautiful you are? I think everybody's seen you. I think everybody has seen you already, beautiful boy. Do you want to practice yoga with us? He wants to go outside so bad, and we have a lot of coyotes in our neighborhood, so we can't let him out. And he spends his days screaming, not just meowing, but a very long meow. And then he has escaped a few times, so it's really, really challenging. And then we did buy him a tree house. Maybe I'll try to remember at the end of class today to show you guys the condo tree house that we bought for them to play in. And of course, it doesn't preoccupy his whole day. Do you want to practice yoga with us? He's such a beautiful, lovely, soft, fluffy, perfect boy when he's not trying to escape. Yes. Okay, Hamilton. All right, if you can see, I have hair all over me from this guy. All right, coming to sit in your hero's pose. I just taught this recently to one of the ladies I'm working with privately, and she sits in this all the time. For those of you, if this is the first time in this, this is such a nice relaxation position of the pelvis, kind of frees up the body. So let's do a little bit of warming up the body here. Taking your hands down alongside your body. You're going to inhale, let your arms rise, let your throat open, and on the exhale, lowering the hands, let the chin come to the chest. Inhale and exhale, chin to chest. And then one more. And then let your arms come down. Take your arms and let your arms come out. Inhale. And then exhale, hug yourself. Inhale, open. Let the shoulder blades glide along the spine. So I'd like you to feel that today. A lot of feeling work of the aspects of our rib cage, of our shoulder blades. Let's let all those muscles move and be really with intention. Inhale, open, and exhale. I may have to put him out. See? Hey, no. I hope he's not too distracting. I know I've got some cat lovers here. And then go ahead and bring your arms down. Let's do a little lateral flexion, flexion and extension and rotation. All the 6 movements of the spine. Come here. No, you're not going out. If you're too disruptive, I need to let you out. No. Come here. I'm going to put you out if you don't stop. Okay. All right. So let's do the spinal movements. Let's take the hands forward, contracting the core, push the belly button back towards the spine and bring your body into flexion. If you have osteoporosis, you want to make sure you do not round the thoracic spine. So if we keep this part of our body open, keep the throat open, keep those clavicle bones pointing forward, that's a good way to kind of minimize that flexion that comes into the thoracic spine. So when you come into flexion, make sure you're really supporting like a girdle. You contract, push the belly button back, push the arms forward, and then come into your extension. We want more and need more of this in our bodies. Lengthen your spine, find that length between the vertebra, the front section, opening, that whole front part of your vertebra. Let your elbows slide underneath your shoulders when you come here, and then exhale, belly button to spine coming forward. Inhale into your extension. Feel your shoulder blades sliding towards the spine. Feel them helping to elevate your chest, lifting your chest, opening your chest. Exhale, belly button to spine. Inhale, exhale. Go pretty quickly. And for those of you that are on a block, you're going to feel your sits bones rocking back and forth on the block. For those of you actually on all of the support you're on, whether you're on a chair or whatever, I want you to feel your pelvis moving with this. So really try to find that movement as you free up the tension of the spine and the musculature that it holds and supports the torso. And then bring yourself back to center. Let's take your hand to the side, doesn't matter which one. One hand to the side, one hand up and over. Lengthen out that side body, coming back through center. Inhale, and then really lift up, lengthen your torso here. Take your hands on the floor, and then I'm not sure what position all of you are in, so you need to find in your bodies what works here. Maybe you can't quite go that far side to side. And then if anyone is battling shoulder issues, sometimes elevation of the shoulder of the arm doesn't work. So you can just lift your hands like this, lift up the elbow up. You're going to need to go outside. No, come here. Come here, honey. And keep going, breathing, breathing, breathing. You, I love you. I super love you, but you have to go out because you're far too distracting for me. Oh, no, I'm not letting you out. Not letting you out. And this one feels good. I will tell you, this is the one that probably people comment the most on it feeling good. It's also good when you have low back issues because it helps to lengthen. Really think about pulling your low rib cage away from the top of your pelvis. Come on to one side wherever you are and think about that lower rib area pulling away from the top of the pelvis, creating more space in your side waist. And then let's do the same thing on the other side. You're going to come into this, reaching that arm up, lengthening the underarm area, moving the lower rib away from the top pelvis. Create length, create length. Use the opposite arm to get that length to come into the body, and then reaching up, creating space, creating length in your torso. Like you're trying to pull the top body away from the bottom body. Take one more breath, and then bring yourself back up. And when we are sitting all the time, we are compressing. So we're compressing all of this. And then when we're looking forward, whether we're cooking, knitting, texting, computer, when we're forward, we bring this rounding into the upper body, which puts so much pressure on this lower part of our back. So really getting that freedom. The last one is rotation. And I'm going to bring a little bit of momentum in with the rotation. So can you take the fingers like this? Now, rotation, 80% of rotation occurs at the thoracolumbar joint, which is where the 5 lower back muscles meet the very first spine, the thoracic spine where the ribs are attached. So it's right kind of behind the belly button. It's a really actually amazing area in the body. The diaphragm that goes all the way around the bottom of the rib cage, like a big parachute, actually attaches right in this middle body, right where the kidneys and then the adrenal glands. The adrenal glands are where the cortisol is secreted during the stress response. So that area, the thoracolumbar, where the thoracic and the lumbar meet, where the diaphragm attaches, where the kidneys are, where the adrenal glands live, everything right there, that's where 80% of the rotation occurs in the spine. So I want you to think about this part of your body from the low ribs on up. I want you to think about this. The rib cage is what's moving back and forth. Try to keep this back down here isolated. This is here. It's almost like you're cutting yourself, not really in half, but maybe I don't even know what mark that would be in the body, maybe 40, 60 or 35, 65. Right here, I want the rotation to be here. We're going to use momentum for this. We're going to let the shoulder blades stay on the back of the trunk as well to get this to come in. Doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be crazy. There's actually, honestly, not a lot of space for movement. When you start to move crazy, it's because all of this, everything else is moving. So take your thumb and your pointer finger to touch. Now, if you want to get into yoga on a metaphysical, like spiritual soul sense, this is the self connecting to the universal self. So this is a way to connect. Take your arms to the side and make sure your shoulders are not shoulder earrings. So lower your shoulders, bring your arms and try to keep this upper arm bone coming off the shoulders if you can. Then you're going to inhale when your body goes to the left. It may look like I'm going to the right, but I'm really going to my left. Inhale and then exhale to the right. Inhale to the left, exhale to the right. Close your eyes. Inhale left, exhale right. Inhale left, exhale right. Feel your body. So close your eyes, be inside your body. See if you can feel low ribs on up, or especially right by the low ribs where the action is happening. And then keep your elbows pretty far back so that your shoulder blades stay on the back of your body, and they actually help to rotate the upper trunk and to keep yourself safe during this rotation. Inhale left. And then go ahead back to center. So I try to explain all of this because for me, learning about my body is what helps me not only stay pain free or discomfort free, it's also what helps to keep me in this proper alignment as I deal with dysfunction in my hips from having a total hip replacement on one side and having the other side be original, but being a hip dysplasic hip. So my own issues here are twerking what's happening up here. So this is why and then, whether or not you have that issue or not, I notice in many women in particular that come to my classes and study with me privately is this rotation or the scoliosis that starts to come into the body. And then of course there's that rounding that comes into the body and all this brings with it. And then the mental emotional aspects that are affected once the physical body starts to break down. So today is really about finding this Tadasana mountain pose proper alignment in our bodies. So I hope your knees are feeling okay and you feel okay in this position. I still feel pretty good. If you need to shift or elevate yourself, prop yourself up a little bit more, we're going to work to find the pose called Tadasana or mountain pose. And it is a postural alignment position. We're going to bring our awareness, closing your eyes, bring your awareness first to your pelvis. So I want you to feel your pelvis on whatever it's on. If you're sitting in a chair, feel your pelvis in the chair. If you're sitting on a block, feel your pelvis in the block. And if your knees are bothering you or this position bothers you, get up and sit in a chair so that we can work with this Tadasana mountain pose in the seated position. Hero's pose, chair in a chair, those are the options. Then you're going to bring yourself to your pelvis, closing your eyes, bringing yourself to where you're sitting. And the first thing I want you to notice is the weight distribution in the pelvis. Bring your awareness to the bones that are making connection on the block, on the chair, wherever you are. Notice your pubic bones, your ischial tuberosities. They're shaped like rocking chair legs. Notice them in what they're sitting on. Notice if the weight on the right side is equal to the weight on the left side. And then notice if your weight is forward or if your weight is back. And especially if you're sitting on a chair. When you're in the Vajrasana Hero's pose, there's a little bit more correction posturally from this position. Then I want you to think about your pelvis like a basin, and there's an opening. So there's a top edge of your pelvis. Can you align the top edge of your pelvis so that if it was full to the rim with water, there would be no leaking of water out the front edge or the back edge or either side? So with the eyes closed, try to find pelvic bowl symmetry. Take your hands and slide your hands, put palms down, actually palms up, and slide your arms back so your elbows come directly underneath your shoulders. Bringing your awareness back to the sacrum. The back of the sacrum is to the pelvis, where the sacrum is embedded in the pelvis. From that position, you're going to come to your lower lumbar. 5 bones here. Can you feel like you're getting a little taller in each one of them, in between each one, a little taller? And when you do that, can you notice that maybe the belly is turning on? The core actually is moving. If you're really slow and really quiet, you can actually feel one side of the body, the other side of the body. We're going to create a little bit of pelvic support and pelvic lift here. So for those of you that are in this pose here that I'm in, the Vajrasana, you'll be able to get this. Those of you in a chair, I haven't tried it. You can report back to me later if you're able to experience this. So I'm going to speak of it from the floor, and those of you in a chair, you're going to bring your awareness to the body parts I'm speaking about. You're going to try to find it. So you're going to bring your awareness to your shins and then to your knees, and you're going to, don't move them, but draw them towards each other. So they won't actually move. For those of us that are sitting in Vajrasana, you're going to press your knees towards each other, even in that chair, without moving them. So don't let it be that it happens on the big mover muscles of the body. I want you to be deep in your bones and on your postural muscles. And as you draw your knees towards each other, that's going to translate up the femur bone to the tops of the bones, to the pelvic floor, to start to activate a lift of the pelvic floor. So let everything soften. Let it go. Let it be heavy. Bring your awareness to your inner knee joint, to your knees, to your shins, and slowly start to draw them towards each other, drawing them, feeling that come up to the adductor muscle group, which is then attached to pelvic floor. Feel there be a lift in the pelvic floor, lifting up, up, up towards the head, and feel something deep down inside of you activate and then soften. So I feel this. I'm trying to articulate this in a manner that you're able to actually activate and feel this. Again, you're going to bring your awareness to your knees, to your shins. You're going to feel them moving towards each other and feel how that comes up the kinetic chain when you activate the lower kinetic chain to the adductor inner thighs. And then from that pelvic floor, bring your awareness to your pelvic floor and lift up, up, up. Feel your lumbar spine lengthen. Keep that in your body. Even if you have to let go of something, if there's too much tension being held, and then go ahead and just release it all. Bringing your awareness now to your low ribs. There's 12 vertebrae here in the low ribs. Make sure your elbows are reaching back. Your shoulder blades are on your spine. You're going to start at your belly button at your lower rib. There are discs between each vertebra, and each vertebra stacks, and then there's a disc and a vertebra and a disc and a vertebra and a disc. This is a gentle forward flexion type curve in the body. Pretty gentle. Take your palms up, slide your elbows back even farther. So now the elbows are farther back than the shoulders. And this is going to take the shoulder blades onto the back, and it's going to help to correct that thoracic spine, trying to introduce extension, which is the opposite curve of flexion. And I'd like you to feel a lengthening in your body when you do this. Then I'd like you to bring your awareness to your neck. There's 7 bones here. Imagine or feel as if somebody gently has their hands on each side of your ear, right side, left side. And there's a gentle traction being placed in your head so that you can lengthen each vertebra. Press the head back so it is on top of your spine. Now imagine that a puppeteer has a string in the center of your head. Feel that lengthening, and feel coming from the whole spine. So start down at the shins, down at the knees. Press towards each other. Feel the lift coming to the pelvic floor. Now you're at the base of your spine, sacrum. From that sacrum, feel that lift coming into the lower lumbar, sliding the shoulder blades back. Feel that thoracic lengthening. And now from the cervical spine, the neck, feel the lengthening happening there. Stay here for 3 breaths. Keep that lift, keep the contraction. Notice where you feel tension in your body when you do this, and stay in it. Take 1 more breath. And then slowly bring yourself out. Let whatever comes back into your body come back into your body. And then let's take this position out of our body. Come onto all fours. So depending on where you are with your body awareness, I'm going to tell you that for myself, I feel myself lengthening away from my scoliosis in my upper spine. And then I feel that shortening and that roundness coming back into my body when I did that. I felt a burning or a heat, muscular heat at the back on my right side, where below my shoulder blade. And I was able to feel that there and feel tension in the back of my neck because we were aligning our neck back on top of our spine. Let's come on to our blanket for a second. For those of you that are in the chair, we're going to come to a plank position because we've been working on plank during this virtual class. If you did want to get up and do a plank at the wall, you could do a plank at the wall For those of you that are trying to be a little bit more gentle, you could do a plank pose at the wall for our whole minute. Okay. For those of you that want to join me here, this is a really nice way to strengthen a lot of the muscles. And this strengthens the anterior chain. And I mentioned earlier, I didn't want you to feel you were moving your legs in with your big movers. I didn't want all the big muscles to take over. I want to be deep inner joints, on our skeleton, on our bones. This plank pose does so much strengthening of that anterior or that front body chain. And so let's come on to, we could do a modified one actually. Let's take our knees back. Unless of course you want to do a full blown one, you can. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders a little forward. And then you're going to lift your low back up towards the sky. So I want you to come into almost like a tilted pelvis. It is a tilted pelvis. Like coming into like a tilted pelvis, lifting your low back up towards the sky. So it's not the upper back, it's the low back that lifts. Taking that sway back out of the body, lift that low back up towards the sky, hammocking for, reaching forward. And then if you want, you can even take your feet off the floor. You could dig your hands into the floor, dig your knees into the floor, and draw them towards each other. Lift that low back up towards the sky. Or you could be all the way up in a full plank. And even though this is anterior chain, there's a lot of back work being done here, especially when you start to activate and lift that low back up like this. Deep, deep, deep core strengthening, postural strengthening. Feel that inside your body. Deep breaths down to your belly. And then let's go ahead and come out of that. Let's bring ourselves all the way up here. We're going to come to standing. I'd like to give a little calibration of the body here. And we've been quite a bit up off the floor anyway. So I'd like you to bring a leg forward, and it doesn't matter which one. I'd like you to bring your weakest one forward if you feel pretty strong. And then if you feel uneasy with balance, I'd like you to bring the strongest one forward. You're going to let your body weight go back, and you're going to push yourself to come up and bring yourself all the way up off of the floor, and then move your props off to the side. Just want to see, somebody said something here earlier. Hunting time. Oh, that's so funny. Oh my gosh. To think that Hamilton would be a hunter. He probably would. He hunts like moths that are in the house. And oh my gosh, to think of them as hunters. So crazy, our little beauties. Okay, let's just come all the way up. We're going to work with that Tadasana mountain pose in a standing position. So it'd be really interesting for me to hear feedback on whether you're able to feel this or not. I know that I do have a lot of body awareness, so I try to really teach with a lot of awareness and really a lot of instruction, so you're able to really experience what it is that I experience in my body. And the more aware we can become of our bodies, I think the quicker we can stop a dysfunctional pattern and start to hold ourselves differently throughout the day. So the Tadasana mountain pose, we're going to find this in a standing position now. You're going to bring your feet into hip distance. And hip distance, the leg bones come up and then they angle inward. Okay, so the legs come up and they angle inward. So the feet are not as far apart. Many people think that these are their hips and that this is hip distance. And in reality, it's a up and in movement of the legs. And that's really interesting. It's almost like it makes a triangular shape, right? And what I notice in bodies when people's bodies start to break down is I notice this. It's called valgus. I notice the knees move in towards each other. You get a lot of like knee joint issues. And it's a safety mechanism in the body as the weight and the pressure from up above is coming. There's this, like we go into a sinkhole. So it's interesting that the body is structured in this way from the bottom, which is the opposite of that. So I'd like you to bring your awareness down to your feet and then separate your feet in 12 sections so that 6 are in the front and 6 are in the back. Feel the 6 in the back at the heels. Feel that there's a lift of the arch. Ooh, try that. Try to see what happens if you feel that you're lifting the arches off the floor. And can you feel that lift coming into the pelvic floor that we were working on in Hero's Pose? I feel it. Not sure if you're there yet to feel that, but if you feel that you're like making a fist with your feet, and it's actually the feet are going out this way. The feet go out to the side when you do it. So it's this action that's happening. You go whoosh up the midline, taking your feet six in the back, six in the front. All six heel points touch. Your toes touch. Putting two into the big toes, so it's a little extra pressure in the big toes, and then slowly feel like you're lifting the arches up. And you could even begin to feel lifting the arches up from here, like your pelvic floor. There's this linkage in our body. Then bring your awareness to your knees. Don't lock your knees, have them pretty soft. Bring your awareness here. Lift that pelvic floor. Even feel like a little tilt. Arrange the top of your pelvic rim so the water's not dribbling out the front and the water's not dribbling out the back. Feel this whole support here. So don't be too crazy with the core support. Just feel that you're contracted. If this were a girdle, it's like you're tightening up your strings. You're bringing that from the bottom, lifting up. It's like a zipper, zipper, zipper. Take your hands down alongside your body, and the palms are facing forward, thumbs are back, almost like you're hitchhiking for a ride. And then keep your arms alongside your body. Don't let them be forward. Let them be alongside the body. Reaching down out your fingertips, reach like with a heaviness, and then keep that lifted feeling in the arches, up the pelvic floor, and then lengthen your thoracic spine, lengthen, come up to your cervical spine. Find that length in your cervical spine, which is your neck. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Bring your awareness to your heart, to the clavicle bones. Feel like the clavicle bones are lifting up towards the sky. Bring your awareness to your shoulder blades. Can you slide your shoulder blades towards each other? Slide your shoulder blades down your back. So feel them actually drawing down the back. Then come to the tips of your shoulder blades, which is right behind the heart area in the body, where the heart is located. And then gently press the tips of the shoulder blades forward to help add or keep a little extension movement in that thoracic spine. Noticing at this point, hopefully, you're feeling some tension in your back, having to hold you up here. And then look straight across the room at something that doesn't move. Reach your hands down. Feel the shoulder blades going down. Bringing your awareness all the way through the midline. Activate that lift from the pelvic floor, from the arches, up the legs, pelvic floor. Lengthen your spine, front and back. Shoulder blades at the back of the body, tips forward. Stay here even if you're feeling tension. So I definitely feel heat. I'm going to say heat because it's muscular contraction. As the back of my body, my rhomboids, my other things, serratus anterior, all these muscles in the back of your body that are responsible for doing different things to your body to help you hold you in this posturally aligned position. Can you feel space in your spine? Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Like the puppeteer has a string in the center of your head, making you a little taller. And then can you lengthen, lengthen, lengthen? Can you stay here? Can you lift from that pelvic floor, keeping your arms here? Can you explore closing your eyes? You don't have to. For some of you, it may be okay to do that. For some, not. You could try to minimize your gaze or keep your awareness at a point right in front of you on the wall, pressing your head back. Take one more breath. Don't come out yet. When you come out, I want you to notice where you go when you come out. So when you come out, let it be slow, slow, slow. Let everything go back to where it goes. Feel what's happening in your body. Feel what's happening in your feet. Feel what's happening in your arms, your wrist. Feel what happens in your belly. See if you can come into that Tadasana mountain pose, not super quickly, but try to find it. Start at your arches. Put your pelvis in a nice alignment. Lengthen in your trunk. Start to move the hands back. Shoulder blades are activated. Head is back on top of the spine. Chin is parallel to the floor. Back of the head is lifting up. Feel all that back body turning on. And then exhale to come out. Shake, shake, shake. Shake your body. Let's go ahead and get a chair. So I hope to get feedback from you all about this because it is very subtle work. So in some ways, if you're not able to activate and to do all of these things, which I think actually all of you are, so I don't even think that anyone that's here today falls into that category. It's so easy for us to move the big muscles, the muscles that move the joints. It's so easy to move the biceps, to move the quads, to move the glutes. It's so easy to be moving the limbs in all of these locations. To get into the tiny muscles that are responsible for joints and joint alignment, not so easy to feel that, not so easy to affect that or to move that. And so today's work is subtle, yet very profound and deep. And so I'm hoping that you're able to feel that Tadasana in your body. Let's come to a seated position. I know some of you may have began in the seated position. Coming into the seated position, I'd like you to find Tadasana, starting your Tadasana pose. It's this feeling that comes into the body, right? Coming from the feet, or when we were on the floor with our shins and our knees together, whatever it is, it's the forward and then the lifted feeling that you bring into your body. I want you to feel, to bring it subtly into your body. So don't bring it so extreme like we did before. Let your elbows be underneath your shoulders. Just find that stacked alignment. We're going to use breath. I'd like to see if you can actually feel how breath can subtly contribute to the postural alignment of the thoracic spine. As we breathe in, as we activate our diaphragm, the diaphragm presses down into the abdominal cavity and it creates intra-abdominal pressure down in the abdominal cavity. With this downward pressure that's created, there's a rebounding lift that can come into the thoracic spine. So in a perfect situation, in a perfect functioning body with freedom for the body to move, the inhalation as it grounds your energy down, coming in like a big triangle shape or like a big mountain shape, there is a gentle lift experienced in the thoracic spine, thoracic being the 12 vertebrae here. I'd like to see if we can experience that inside of our bodies right now. So bring yourself to your Tadasana pose. Arrange yourself from the floor up. Feel that pelvic floor activate. Feel that actually arranging the pelvis so there's no spillage of water forward or backwards. Feel that arrangement of your body here in your Tadasana, seated Tadasana pose. And then closing the eyes, palms are up. Begin to breathe deeply so you feel your diaphragm moving, inhaling and exhaling. Feel that diaphragm expand. Feel that diaphragm contract. Just keep your awareness there right now with the diaphragm, lining the entire lower rib cage. You can even visualize your diaphragm like either a big manta ray in the ocean floating, the flaps going up and down, or you could visualize a parachute. As you breathe in, the parachute draws downward and makes a big downward dome. And then as you exhale, the dome moves up to push the lungs, to push the breath out. Just feel that midsection of your body expand and contract, knowing that you're really activating that diaphragm. Then I'd like you to visualize a triangular shape. So as you breathe in these two nostrils at this point up in the top of your head, the breath comes in. I want you to visualize a triangular mountain shape getting wider as you breathe in. Visualize this widening, this triangular shape, this structure in your body. Elbows are underneath the shoulders, palms are up. Feel the activation of the upper back holding you in this Tadasana, seated Tadasana pose. Then I'd like you to see if you can actually feel that lengthening that takes place in the thoracic spine. So on your next inhalation to the diaphragm, can you feel the rebound as you inhale, downward movement, mountain position, and then this lift that comes to the thoracic spine? even with the grounding down of the breath. If you're really connected and in a space of feeling and in interoception, you may actually feel a release and an opening in your ears, in your sinus cavity. Feel the grounding of the breath and the lifting at the same time. And then take one more breath. And then go ahead and release. Take your hands, depending on where you're at in terms of your level of awareness with your body, is going to determine on how deeply you can do this. I feel pelvic floor, I feel core from what we've been doing. I feel my back muscles, I feel my neck muscles. So even though it is looks subtle, it can be very deep. And then throughout your day, you can find this Tadasana. So hopefully today, Tadasana was drilled in. Let's do just a little something to strengthen the upper back muscles, which are part of the hanger that holds us up. You're going to take your arms out to the side. Make sure you're not elevating your shoulders. So lower your shoulder blades. And let's start forward with forward circles. So little tiny circles. Noticing here, don't look side to side, but are your hands in the same level? Are your hands going forward as much as they're going backward on each side? Do you feel the same range of motion in your shoulder joint on either side? Start to get a little bigger with your circles. Do you feel heat generating in your upper torso area, in the back of the body and the shoulders as the muscles are activated to hold up the weight of the arm bones? And then start to go a little bigger. This is actually weight bearing because gravity is pushing down on you. So we're having the ability here to strengthen arm bones, something that we don't get to do very often. So think of that this way. You're going forward with your circles. Go a little bigger here. So it would almost be like the butterfly stroke if you were in the pool. Of course, if you have shoulder issues and you need to limit your range of motion, do that. Bring yourself to a stopped position. Notice what you notice here. Something so simple, yet doing some nice deep work. Let's do this continue. So stay with me. This is only for less than a minute or a minute. It's a very short amount of time. As you bring your arms up, bring your arms up. Don't let your shoulders rise. Let your arms rise. If the shoulders have elevated, press them down. And now go backwards. Tiny circles. Try to go as far back as you can. So keep your arms along the side of the body, staying so that you're close to the back of your body here. Try not to let them go forward. Notice where you feel the tension. Do you feel it on the right side the same as on the left, or one side more than the other? Try to note that. Try to go a little bit bigger yet. Has the tension creeped up into the sides alongside either side of your neck? Notice that. Keep your chin parallel to the floor. Try to get a little bigger here with your circles. Make sure you're going back a lot. Let your arms go into that backward movement. One more. And then bring yourself back to center. Keep your arms on your thighs. Take a big inhale and then exhale, chin to the chest. Lengthen that back neck. Slide the shoulder blades back. Feel that nice lengthening of the back neck. Keep your thoracic spine straight. This is a cervical spine, your neck muscles. Bring yourself back up. Let your head go over on one side. The ear is moving towards the top shoulder. Feel that lengthening. Bring yourself back up and then go to the other side. So it may sound silly or weird, but I feel the opening in my head when I do things. So when we just did that other side, I felt an opening in my ear area. And then I'm not even going to get more graphic on how I feel fluids moving around, mostly mucus as we compress certain areas of the body, and then bring yourself back to center. Okay, it's time for Shavasana, time to go down on the floor. And when you come down on the floor in your Shavasana, I want you to be able to do rotation in the neck to release even more tension. So whatever you're going to choose, It could be a bolster underneath the knees. You could go back to legs up the wall like we began. You could put the bolster underneath your um, knees, the legs on a chair, just whatever you're going to choose. Um, we're going to come down onto the floor, and I'd like to have some time to roll out the neck to get the tension out of the neck, because there is a lot of upper back and neck tension created because we were strengthening the muscles that hold you up. So even though we feel that now, the intention of this is to strengthen the part of you that holds your head on top of your body. Bringing yourself down onto the floor. If you have an egg block, you could use that. Otherwise, just letting your arms go out to the side and bringing your head through rotation in this position can feel really yummy and release some of that tension in the head and neck, side to side. And there's one more neck release I like to do. Now it's your hands, your arms that are actually lifting your head up. So let your head be as heavy as possible, clasping your hands around your head and then wrapping your head with your arms. So you are actually lifting your head up. Your head is not lifting itself. Your arms are doing the work. This is going to go a little farther down the back of your body. You're letting your chin come towards your chest, lifting your head up. It might not be a big range of motion, and just feel the stretch wherever you feel the stretch. Let your head go down. Bring your legs in the air. Shake, shake, shake your legs. Point your feet. Flex, point, flex, and then circles in one direction, circles in the other. Bring your knees into your chest. And then it's time for Shavasana. Take your legs nice and long. Let your arms go down to the side and just let go, let go, let go. Hariam, Hariam, Nirame, Akame, Godinde, Mukande, Udare, Apare, Hariam, Hariam, Nirame, Akame, Govinde, Mukande, Udare, Apare, Kariyam, kariyam, dinnameya kame, govinde mukande, udareya pare. Kariyam, kariyam, dinnameya kame, govinde mukande, udareya pare. Kariyam, kariyam, Nilame Kande Govinde Mukande Udare Apare Hariyam Kariyam Nilame Kande. Gently begin to deepen your breath, bringing your awareness back to the body inside to feel the breath moving throughout the body. And all that happens inside the body with each breath. Bring awareness to your fingers, your toes, moving in whatever way feels good for your body. Let your body tell you what it wants, what feels appropriate. Eventually, you're going to find yourself on your right side. So move in a way that your body wants to in order to get to the right side. Opening up your hand, bringing yourself to a seated position. Coming into that seated position, finding the mountain pose here as we get ready to close the practice. Bringing yourself into that nice alignment that we've worked with today, bringing your hands together. Now we're going to align ourselves with sound, bringing the letter ah, the ah sound, the o or the u sound, and the sound up the spine, all the way up to our throat. Take a deep breath down to your belly. We bow our heads to each other in namaste. Namaste. All right, all right, all right. Thank you, thank you. Very subtle work today. Hope that you were all able to experience the subtlety, to feel and to experience this in your body. Thank you, Athena. Yes, lots of Tadasana. The takeaway today is that Tadasana mountain pose, engaging from the bottom, wherever your bottom is, whether it's in a seat, whether it's in hero's pose or on your feet, finding that from the ground up lifting, and then bringing that into your body, and then realizing the tremendous aspects of breath to create movement and length in this part of the spine, which, then there's the head attached and the lower back below. So to free up the two most common, um, especially lately, the two most common areas of discomfort are upper back and neck, or low back. So when we start to work with this middle point between the two, we can actually free up, or actually even hold upright. It's like an ice cream cone, kind of, right? Maybe upside down, like a lollipop, where you have your head on top of a stick. Um, okay, let me see. You're welcome, Nancy. You're welcome, Martha. So I hope that that was good for you guys today. And then hopefully throughout this week, you can find your Tadasana in everything you do, standing, sitting, kneeling, whatever. And I hope that this hero's pose is something that you'll like. Um, Yeah, Chachi, that has been the biggest helper for me, is to learn about my body. And I think that's what I loved about yoga when I first started, was that they would talk about all these body parts in ways that I didn't even think of my body. And so, yeah, there's this subtle amazingness that yoga can help us on subtle layers and levels, which is so profound and deep. This package that we show up in has to be strong in order to be happy. It just does. We can't have this breakdown. So when we increase our interoception, our body awareness, we can move differently throughout our days and stop that breakdown that occurs in the body, that I see so often in the work that I do and I experienced in my own body. So I hope you all have a lovely week. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm going to, I don't know if I mentioned this in the beginning of class, I'm definitely going to take a week off. I have not taken a week off in 3 months, and I'm going to take a whole week off. I don't know if it's going to be next week or the week after. There's all these recorded classes, though, and I'll probably create a little extra something during this time. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you in another class. You can email me or text me. Let me know if you have any comments, suggestions, or questions. Thank you, and have a beautiful Wednesday.